Assalamu alaikum salam. Just before we begin, if you support the Young Smokes podcast and you want to help support the channel, please go to the Patreon below and support us monthly so we can keep up with the shows. We've got lots of content coming up. We're going to have special content specifically for the Patreons, as well as a new series on Hijrah, inshallah. So please go to the Patreon below and support the podcast. Assalamu alaikum salam.
إنك لا تهدي من أحببت ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum salam. Welcome to Young Smokes podcast, and we got another episode of Hijrah. Let's talk Hijrah, and today we're going to be speaking about Hijrah in Turkey. 1 year on, so I've been here in Turkey almost 2 years. And I'd like to welcome you to Brother Umar again. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So I know you've been spending some time in Turkey now for around 7, 8, 9 months.
Right, yeah.
So just wanted to do a bit of an update on your thoughts, because the last podcast I spoke to you, you told me you'd been to Kazakhstan,
Right,
and you've been to Egypt as well. You
Right.
lived in Egypt for a long time.
right.
So I wanted to get your thoughts. How is it now in Turkey?
Okay. Well, I always thought Turkey was a beautiful country, like from Istanbul, even Antalya, Bursa, and Konya. So, and it's been consistent across the board in terms of the quality of life. I found that they had a good system, street lights and stuff like that. Sometimes we take that for granted, cleanliness.
Yeah.
We call it nidam, just a whole system of how they do things. So I'm still impressed with Turkey when it comes to that.
Yeah. SubhanAllah, you decided to go to Konya in the end. When I last spoke to you on the podcast, you
Right.
was looking at Istanbul, you came to Bursa,
Right,
and you ended up deciding on Konya. Now,
Right.
Konya is quite far away from Istanbul.
right.
So is there any reason why you chose Konya? What was the...
Well, as you know, I came to Turkey to scout out the different areas, and we started in Antalya. And when we looked around and tried to find places and see how much rent was and everything, we found that it wasn't suitable. It was more like a tourist town. It's a beautiful place, but it's more touristic, and you get people from all over coming there for the beach and everything else. So when we found that we couldn't even find anything to rent, and you would at least have to pay a year up front and all this stuff, so we decided, okay, let's go to Istanbul. So we went to Istanbul, but we didn't really want to stay in Istanbul to begin with. We just wanted to visit and see some things, but we felt it's kind of busy, and we really didn't want to deal with a lot of crowded areas and stuff like that. So, but we did go see Besikshehir, where a lot of foreigners live. I actually like it.
Yeah.
I actually like the place. It's nice, it's clean. It's a lot of foreigners there. Like if you can kind of be okay with just English for the most part. You find a lot of people who speak English. If you speak Arabic, you can get around with Arabic.
It's quite a religious area as well.
Yeah.
A lot of Muslims in the masjid.
Yeah. It's nice, man. I can't take it away. But I didn't really look at Besikshehir in depth until later. So we left from Istanbul and we came to Bursa, and we liked Bursa. It was just that at that point I had left, and I went back to Egypt for a while to handle some business. But the brother that I was with, he stayed on in Bursa. You know the story.
Yeah.
But he stayed on in Bursa looking for places, and he found it difficult to find places in Bursa.
Yeah.
Or maybe he didn't spend enough time looking.
Yeah, I remember I was helping Brother
Right.
Nazir look for property.
Right.
It was a bit difficult at that particular time.
Right.
Looking for property.
Right.
It just happens. It's like different. You have busy periods
Right.
and slack periods. The time he came, it was difficult to find property. I think at the moment it's a bit easier, and of course he had particular needs that he needed, the size of property, etc.
Right.
But yeah,
and then also I learned a lot. I learned a lot looking for properties that I didn't know before. So I think that if a person knows how to search for property in Bursa, that he can find something a lot easier than we could at that time.
Yeah.
So after that, this brother went to Konya. And there was a lot of recommendation to go to Konya from different people. They said, Konya is a flat land, and it's quiet. It's a little more conservative than other places. So the brother visited Konya, and he sent me pictures and videos or what have you. And then when I came back, I went straight to Konya. So and once I got there, I was like, okay, this is nice, because living in other places, you find that outside the main city, it's like villagey everywhere else, So even small townish, and I wasn't interested in living in like small towns.
Yeah.
But this is actually a city like Bursa,
yeah.
And some even might think Bursa is like some small town type
yeah.
thing, and it's not.
Yeah.
So once I got there, I started looking for places, and it was difficult. It was difficult at first. And then, but once you understand how to look for properties and utilize resources of people that can help you and all that, then it becomes, a lot easier. So I found a few places. At first, I found it and tried to do it myself. And of course, it was a language barrier and everything. And then they like, who are you and where you come from? They don't know you. They can't really trust you.
Yeah.
But if you bring a Turkish person in, they're not really vouching for you. But when they see him there, it's like an automatic.
Yeah.
Okay, you wouldn't bring this person to me if you didn't trust them, kind of like thing.
Yeah.
And once you have that, then it opens the door.
Yeah, I think anywhere outside of Istanbul, you need that support.
Of course.
Even now we just went for, coffee in Istanbul, and we speak in English to the guy.
Right.
In Bursa, you can't.
Right.
This is no English spoken, which is a good thing. It's their thing, right? It's their country. But for us, it's difficult if you're not speaking Turkish. And definitely when looking for a property, I found the same thing. When I was getting my property, it's difficult. If you've not got a brother there to help you who speaks Turkish, it can be very challenging.
Yeah, sure.
So how was it? How have you found it in terms of, because of the past 6 months? There's been huge inflation, and the currency's gone through the roof. It's more than doubled. It's halved in price. The pound has doubled with what you get for your money here, but the Turkish lira has more than half dropped in price to the pound and the dollar. And because of that, some things have gone up in price. And it's gone up a lot in lira. But for people who are dealing with pounds and dollars, has it affected you as much? Has it affected you at all? Because
in the beginning, it was like up and down, right? So one day it might be 10 or something like that. The next day it's 13 or something like that. And then the people in the market can't fluctuate prices that fast. So you kind of were at an advantage at that point. So when you can wait till it's about 13 or something and then go buy something from the market, especially when you're moving in, because you needed big things, furniture sets and what have you. So you got good deals on refrigerators, and because I had to buy all that stuff. So at that point it was good. But now it's a little bit different, because it's kind of stable at a high price. So everything goes up now, So, but again, it's still reasonable. It's not like, it's not like you can't survive, but I'm sure it's harder on the Turkish people, than it is on a Westerner that's getting money from outside, the country.
Yes. When I first came, it was 9 lira for the pound. Now it's over 21 lira for the pound. It's a lot of difference.
Yeah, it is.
But to be honest, it's kind of like the same when you change things for the pound. Like when I'd get a taxi from home to the ferry, it's like maybe 40-45 minute taxi ride. It would cost me like 150 lira, like £15. Now it's nearly 300 lira.
Right.
It's still 15
It's
pounds.
still,
You know?
right.
So it's like things like that. Even with the money, but I don't know how the Turks are actually coping with this. I mean,
Right.
you know, people are actually earning in lira. Their
Right.
wages have gone up slightly,
Right.
but subhanallah, it must be quite challenging for them.
Well, you know, one thing I noticed, man, is that, and maybe it's just isolated where I'm at, but I don't see the desperation. You know,
Yeah.
it could be because they know us in our neighborhoods and things like that, the stores, but I don't sense the desperation where they feel like they have to, because the dollars change, they have to like raise the price just for you. You know, in other places you can feel that. You know, if sometimes in Egypt, even like if they can get an extra half a pound, like half an Egyptian pound, they'll get it, they'll take it. You know, but I didn't sense that here. As things went up, it seemed like it went over smoothly, like it balanced itself out. You know.
Yeah. See, you know, there's a lot of people. Some people are advising people on Hijrah, and sometimes I feel like the advice that people are giving is not exactly accurate enough. You know, mashallah, you've got your own channel, Make Hijrah, and you're giving sound advice. You know, you're asking people who have actually done that move.
Right.
You know, not just people who've gone on holiday for a week, but like, you know, giving sound advice for Hijrah. And, you know, one thing I'm seeing is people, you know, just getting up, making Hijrah with their families before checking things out.
Right.
Beforehand. You know, and this is, I've seen a lot of families making this mistake.
Right.
And it's costing them a lot of money.
Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to ask you is, do you think Turkey is still a good option to be looked at for Hijrah? Because I know things have changed regarding visas.
Right.
And I know you've got a bit of knowledge about that, about some experience about what's going on.
Right.
And what are the get-arounds, if there's any?
Right. It's changed. And some say it's a political change. But before, you can get a tourist visa pretty easy and then just keep renewing it. And you can get a year. Some people get 2 years like that, and they just keep going like that on tourism. But when we went to get our residency permits, they were telling us at that time, look, this is not gonna last, because technically, how long can you do tourism? You know, you can only look around so much. You know, to now you have to update that to something else. You know, so now they're saying, and I hear different stories. You know, I personally went down, and they told me that the tourist visa is no longer available, and it won't be available for renewal. So you have to choose from 3 options, which the first one is to buy a property for $75,000 or more, to get a work permit, or to attend university or schooling, some type of school, right? So, and then we talked to another guy, and he was talking about business as well, establishing business, and then going through the whole process of doing that and using that as a reason, because basically it's the immigration wants to know why you're here. Yeah. So if you don't have a legitimate reason to be here, then you should leave. Yeah. That's basically what it is.
You know, another thing they've done as well with I've been told by you today that the tourism visa stopped. I'm not sure exactly what the deal is with that right now, but one thing I did find is that if it's still open, which, you know, as it was a couple of weeks ago, that they'd even changed that, where you have to have proof of your bank details. You have to show them proof of income, or proof that you have enough money to stay in the country. Right. You know, because if you're staying in a country for 1 to 2 years as a tourist, they're thinking, well, how are you sustaining that? Right. You know, how are you making money? They think maybe you're coming and doing business without declaring it, etc. So, you know, that was another issue. Another thing. There's also, I've heard, where you're expected to go on a cultural course. Have you heard about that?
No.
So it's like you attend a course where they tell you about Turkish culture. It's only about 3 hours long,
Right.
They tell you about, Turkish culture, and just kind of make you a bit more informed about the culture.
Right.
So that's also another thing I've heard.
Right.
The bottom line we're getting to here, for those who are listening, is you need to do your homework.
Yes.
Because even as of today, the rules might change.
Right.
So before you do Hijrah, you really have to do your homework and plan before just turning up, with families.
Yeah, you can't do that, bro. I mean, especially if you have a family. Maybe if you're a single person, you can take advantage of it, because when you enter Turkey, if you're from the U.S., other countries, Western countries mainly, that you can come in for 3 months, stay 90 days, right? So for a single person, they can take advantage of that, and then after the 90 days, they can leave, go somewhere else. They have, if you have the resources to do that, and then come back or whatever. But as for a person with a family, you can't just plop down in a place with your family and not know where you're going or what you're going to do. Even if you think you have it planned out a little bit, you need to do the research yourself as the head of household, whoever you are. So
what other comments would you have about Turkey, your time in Turkey, and anything really, anything you think might be a benefit to someone looking at coming to Turkey?
Right. I would say that for someone with little or no experience living in Muslim countries, Turkey is a good place. It's a good place to start, even if you want to practice your religion. And I haven't had any obstacles in doing that. Nobody's told me, why are you doing this, or why you stay in the masjid, or why you do that. I find that the Turks, these are the good points now. Start with the good points, right? I find that the Turks love children. That's something that I noticed. They really go out their way to smile at the kids or give them candies, or even when we go to the store, they're always giving some candy to the kids and stuff like that. So they love they love children, and so it's a really family-friendly environment, right? Your children can go out and play, and nobody's going to bother them. You find that. Especially where I can speak of Konya in particular, there's a lot of older people there. The people take care of their grandfathers, and you find even the great grandfathers and everybody there. So it's really family oriented. So wherever you teach your children in the home, they can see it outside. The adhan is there. The masjid is, every little area has a masjid for the area. So you can just come out and walk right to the masjid if you want to do that. Those are the pros, but the educational piece has to be done at home, because everything's in Turkish. So you can basically teach your children at home, and then let the environment kind of reflect what you're teaching your children. So that's great. It supports it. I can't say that you should just let your children loose with, if they're teenagers, just let them loose with other teenagers. I wouldn't say that, because there are things that happen in society that are kind of underbelly stuff, right? So make sure that you keep your family with good people, surround them with good people. You got to build your environment. That's just the reality, and then the community is the support for that. As far as bad things or things that I'm not so happy with, Ramadan didn't feel Ramadani, It was Ramadan, but it was you have to kind of get used to how they do things in Ramadan. So the recitations, people, you can go to a masjid and they're just repeating Qul huwa Allahu ahad or something. So it's kind of different, because even in other places, if they want to shorten it, they just shorten it. They shorten it to a page, or something like that, and then
or less rak'ah,
or less, or half a page, whatever. But they don't just repeat, like that.
I found that quite difficult, to be honest. I was here for the first week of Ramadan, and I came for a few days at the end, or in the middle, and I found it quite challenging. You had the mosque doing 20 rakah, but they're only doing one ayah per rakah, and it just wasn't the kind of, it wasn't in the spirit of
Right.
qiyam.
Yeah.
So, and also in Ramadan I went to Morocco, and I felt the Moroccan, that was good.
Yeah.
And then I went to Kuwait, and then I went to Saudi. So I kind of got a nice feel of this Ramadan.
Right.
But yeah, these things are important because a lot of the time people are moving, because Hijrah is like, the basis of it is Islam. So they're moving because of their religion. They're searching for these religious aspects.
Right.
And sometimes they get disappointed,
right,
with these type of things. So again, you have to do your research,
right,
and check these things out. Yeah.
Like overall, I like Turkey. Overall, even with the things that, I think can be improved. I think you can, in Ramadan, you can kind of search that out. You can find a place that fits you. Some people don't mind like a one ayah, like at least they felt like they did tarawih and they did something, And then also you can pray at home as well, and just make it something special at home, So there's ways around it. It's just that I wasn't used to how they do it, and then the culture behind it as well. Because like on Eid, we like to go to the park and water balloons, whatever, have a good time. Whereas the Turks spent their time with family. Yeah. Go visit the grandmother, go visit the grandfather, which is their way, which is fine, So you wouldn't find the parks as full as you think they would be during, that time.
Yeah.
But again, that's that type of stuff. The overwhelming feeling about Turkey is that it's a beautiful country. You have people that are, came from hardships in following religion, and some of them are trying to go back to it. You also have elements that are totally secular or totally whatever. Yeah. But again, I would say that don't come to, unless you're going to a place that's where you're looking for like a spiritual boost. For me personally, I was looking for environment. Yeah, I was looking for where to raise my kids.
This is important. Like, what's the intention of moving? Like, I'll be honest with you, my iman is highest. Where do you think my iman is highest?
Where? At what place?
Mecca.
I would assume that. Yeah.
My iman is highest in England.
Oh, your iman is highest in England.
Yeah, because the community is great. I'll be honest with you. If you're in that bubble, right. For me, not for my children, but for me, good brothers, good masjid, brotherhood. We've got it. We're not looking for the clubs and the nightclubs and the haram.
Right.
You're in the bubble.
Right.
Am I confident my children are going to be in that bubble? No.
Right.
Because they go to school, their friends, etc. So it's more about creating the best environment for your whole family as a whole. That's sometimes you have to sacrifice your own kind of brotherhood and bubble for the sake of the family at the end of the day.
Right.
I mean, it's I do believe Turkey is a great place for raising children. I've said it many times. A lot of the challenges we have in the West, they simply just don't exist here. There are other challenges. There are challenges like anywhere in the world, but I think you've definitely got a better, easier experience of raising children here than in the West.
Right.
That's one thing I would say.
I definitely agree with
that. I'm the same as you. It's like spiritually, it's not the most spiritual place for me. In that sense. But I just appreciate having access to the mosque, this beautiful mosque where we're here now.
Right.
Masjid Suleimania.
Right.
Lots of history here.
Right.
We're here filming. Right. No one's bothering us.
Right.
The guards have seen us. They're just nodding us in, and it's safe and it's beautiful.
You're right.
And I do think if we, inshallah, do learn the language over time, it'll be a totally different experience.
Right.
I sat down with some Turks in Bursa a few days ago having tea, and it was great because they spoke English.
Right.
I could communicate with them. Right. So really, it's to me to try to make an effort, with the language, and try to make that effort with speaking to the locals. And places like Istanbul, Başakşehir, you can get away with Arabic and English.
Yeah.
And I think them places would be a lot easier to mix with the people, if that's what you're looking for.
Right. I think that's a soft landing if you went to Başakşehir for sure. But because of the amount of foreigners there, the prices are going up. The prices rise. Yeah. And people try to take advantage of that foreign currency that's coming in, or what they think the foreigners have.
So what are your top places to check out in Turkey? Mm-hmm. If somebody's going to come for a week, right? What would you recommend there?
I would suggest a road trip, man. Include. I would say what you should include, because there are other places that I haven't been. But definitely include Istanbul, Başakşehir for sure. Yeah. Bursa, Konya even. People are turned off by Konya because of the spinning, the dervishes thing. Yeah. But in reality, it's like I haven't seen that. It's there for sure. If you look for it, you'll find it. But it's not like people spinning in the street. It's not like that. They have their little. That's their cultural thing there. Yeah. But like you can go out way away from that and just live and do your thing. So Konya for sure. Antalya, I would check out Antalya as well, because there's another one, Alanya or something like that. I can't think of it right now. Alanya. But I would check those areas out for sure, and then I would stay away from certain places. There's people in Ankara, by the way, so large Somalian community there in Ankara. That could be a place to check out. Izmir, not so much. But definitely those places I would check out, and then I would look around and ask to find out what other places to visit.
Yeah, and of course it depends how long you've got. In Istanbul, I would also check out Üsküdar. Okay. It's a part of Istanbul. I liked it. Yeah. It felt a bit more conservative than other parts of Istanbul. Right. Definitely something to check out. And I live in Bursa. I like Bursa.
Bursa's nice.
It's pretty close to Istanbul. You can get the boat. You can get the coach. Yeah. There's also the east side as well of Turkey. Right. Gaziantep. I've not been down there myself, but these might be places to check out as well. Yeah. Especially I've heard that there's more Arabic spoken there because it's borders Syria and stuff. So inshallah, I hope people get some benefit. So, and is there any final?
No, that's it, man. I'm hoping that the series that you're doing will benefit people. There has been a growing interest in Hijrah, over the years, and not that much information has been made available. So now, inshallah, and then I don't think people know how much you've traveled, man. Like you're well traveled, mashallah. So you've seen a lot of things.
It was you who encouraged me to start the series.
Yeah, man, you need to, let it be known, because people have no clue, really. When you think of Africa for us, we think of poverty. That's it. That's the first thing. If you said, bring some words when I say Africa, you say poverty. And this type of disease and that type of negativity. Yeah. But you've been in Africa, man. You've been a lot of countries in Africa, and you can bear witness that there's beautiful places in Africa. Yeah. And even you said you prever. Yeah,
if
you can stay in Africa, you will stay in Africa.
Just because I can't afford Africa.
Right.
Africa's not cheap.
Right.
But one last thing. How are the children? Finding it? They enjoying it?
Yeah, they love it, man. They love it. It's just because we're kind of like, our family is quiet. Yeah. So one thing you should know about Egypt is you can have a party just start, in the middle of the night. People just start,
With the,
So this is really great for us, because everybody respects, the neighbors.
They want to
make a lot of noise. Man. Yeah. Like even a neighbor will come up and say, can you kind of, because the kids are running or something, they'll come up and say, can you, So the neighbors respect one another, respect their privacy and their, and they don't want you to make a lot of noise outside even. Mm-hmm. So, we like that.
This is Islamic principles as well.
Yeah.
You take into consideration your neighbors. And,
Right.
yeah, alhamdulillah.
So they do that. And by the way, I want to mention this point too. Like I find in many countries, certain aspects of the deen that are just embedded. You know, like for example, in Zanzibar, it's common to have a sink in the dining room. Why? So you wash your hands. You wash your hands before you eat. Wash your hands after you eat. That's just part of it. You know, and they took that sunnah and put it there. So everybody, if you build a house, you're going to do it that way. In Turkey, let's say Konya in particular, when we're looking for a place to open up a gym. And you can't open up anything that makes noise without getting the permission from all the neighbors in the building. You know, which is like honoring your neighbors, you know, making sure you're not irritating your neighbors and things like that. But it's just built in, you know, it's built in the culture. So you'll find a lot of things like that in the Muslim world. It's just, they don't even know where it came from or can't tell you why they do it. But it comes from the religion, you know, just over time through culture. It just became part of what they do, you know.
Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khair.
Well,
And maybe I'll catch up with you in 6 months' time.
Inshallah.
So yeah, see where you are, see what you're doing, see how things are going.
Inshallah.
And hopefully, you know, these issues of visa and stay will become easier. And ask Allah to make it easier for those who intend to do hijrah and seek better places to live for the sake of Allah.
Ameen.
Jazakallah khair.
Well,
إنك لا تهدي من أحببت ولكن الله يهدي من يشاء